Fransua. Thank you for being here. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If not, please correct me. Thank you for being here. Well, please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Fransua, and I'm here to represent my mother, Denise Fransua. Unfortunately, she is unable to represent herself today since she senselessly lost her life at gunpoint in a domestic violence murder-suicide here in Denver on May 17th, 2011. May 17th is a day that drastically impacted my family, and is a day that I'm afraid I will never forget. My mother was my hero, my role model, and my friend. She was a single mother who worked hard to care for my sister and myself, while working full-time as a probation officer for the state of Colorado, and putting herself through school. She was very smart and very ambitious. I was so proud when she earned her master's degree in criminal justice, and shortly after that, she obtained her dream job of becoming an adjunct professor at the Community College of Denver. Unfortunately, she was unable to teach her first class. While she was busy accomplishing her goals and dreams, her ex made a point to end them short. She was the last person in the world I ever thought would become the victim of a homicide, and for the longest time, her death just didn't seem real. You see these situations in movies, but you never think it's actually going to happen to you. Growing up, I grew accustomed to the name calling, the constant slamming of doors, and the shouting that my mom's fiance did. However, the tipping point occurred shortly after my mother called off her engagement with her ex, Steve Romero. Once he realized that the relationship was coming to an end, he threatened her and told her, "I have a gun in this house, and I'm not afraid to use it." My mother came to me scared and told me about the incident. The very next morning, we went to the courthouse and notified the courts of the threat, his abusive behavior, and his history of violence, and was able to obtain a restraining order against him. A few short hours later, Steve came home unexpectedly early. My mom was so scared, but managed the courage to quickly leave the house while I waited outside for the Parker police to come serve him and escort him off the property. With him off the property, we quickly tore through the house in hopes of finding his gun. But unfortunately, all we were able to find were his bullets, which means he somehow made off with his gun. For our safety, we made arrangements to have all of his personal property taken to a storage unit for him to pick up at his convenience, with one exception: his dog, a Dalmatian by the name of Fester. At that point, we agreed to take care of his dog until he found a place to live that would allow animals. Eventually, the day came to return his dog, and my mother took it onto herself to take the dog to his house. She didn't even get the chance to finish unloading the car. He shot her in the back as she was walking towards his front door to the car. He then let her sit there for most of the day before he called his daughter and decided to take his own life. I can't tell you why it was my mother took it onto herself to take the dog to him. I like to think it was her last courageous act because she knew how dangerous he was, and that she knew I also wanted to take the dog to him. She wouldn't have wanted to put me in danger. But I do know that he should have never had a gun. The courts were made aware of his threat and that he had a gun, yet nothing was done to take it away from him, and because of this, my mother was killed. Her murder devastated my family. My sister was robbed of having her mother there to cheer her on at her high school graduation 2 days later. We lost our family house. Holidays don't feel the same, and I can't help but feel as if something is missing when I should be celebrating some accomplishments. Even worse is the regret I feel on a daily basis. I regret ever agreeing to let that darn dog stay with us. But even more so than that, I regret that more wasn't done to help keep her safe. Madam Chair and members of this committee, I believe that the bill in front of you today can do more to help save lives of innocent victims in our state, and I ask that you please support its passage.
Thank you, Mr. Fransua. Are there any questions? Thank you very much for being here, and if you will please sign it.